What's up, guys, and welcome to another review. This is a very different type of review because usually we aim at doing as many of the newer releases as possible, and this one is more of a curveball than anything else. We was gifted Tormented Souls by the amazing Crown Clown EDD. He's somewhere in that chat over there. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have even considered doing this game. Which actually got launched in 2021. Yes, it was 2021. So it was a title that went straight under the radar. Completely missed it and had no clue that it came out. Or probably we did, but we were busy doing something else. So I don't know. So again, there he is. Right there. Just a massive shout out to Crown Clown because this review is sponsored by him and it's all on him. So thank you. Tormented Souls is a Resident Evil - Silent Hill hybrid of a game, using the same sort of control concept that you would expect to find in an old school Resident Evil with old tank controls or even the updated control system. And is it worth your time? Is it worth buying the game now and giving it a go, knowing as well that the sequel is coming out this year? That's the whole point of this review. We'll try to keep it short and sweet, because the shorter the better and the less boring, but we're going to go through the same review template that we always do, so we're going to be as fair as we possibly can do. The very first thing that we always look at is the choice of audio, the choice of music used, and I think the game absolutely nails it 100% with Tormented Souls. The vibe you get when playing this game, it's freaky as hell, and the music and the soundtrack massively aids in that, and I can't say anything negative about it. It is very, very, very similar to something that you would expect again from a Resident Evil or - Silent Hill type game, and it will build the suspense. It will, give you the chills up your spine and make you concerned and worried about what you're about to get into. So I can't fault the audio aspect of this game whatsoever. It also applies to the weapons that you use, including the melee weapon and even the projectile weapons that you can create within the game itself and use. And I loved it. I thought the shotgun was definitely one of my favorites because it sounded absolutely fantastic and it had such an amazing kick to it as well. So in terms of the audio of the soundtrack and the audio of the sound effects, can't fault it in any way. The voice acting in this game is very old school cheesy in a way. It does heavily remind me of the terribly dialogued Resident Evil original game, the first one that came out, where the voice acting was super cheesy. And the voice, the way that they spoke didn't fit a lot of the times the situation that they were in, but I enjoyed that aspect of it because it did remind me of the old school games, and I'm not going to fault it in a way. I actually enjoyed it. The game is, yes, 3 years old, so 2021, the voice acting could have been better, but it definitely adds to the game and doesn't take away from the enjoyment factor. The next thing that we look at is the graphics. It doesn't matter if this game is retro style pixels or cyberpunk HD. Did the graphics work for the game? And it did. It really did. I had no screen tearing. I had no missing pixels. I found no issue with the graphic side of the game in Tormented Souls. I thought it looked fantastic for what it was worth. And yeah. In terms of the weather effects, we can't talk about that because the majority of the game all takes place inside of a very, very large hospital. So you spend pretty much the entire time there. You don't get to venture outside. You don't, there's no snow, rain, thunder, lightning atmospheres that you get to experience. It's all presently inside that building. The character model design, this will include obviously the enemies as well. I had no issue with it. I thought the main character looked fantastic throughout. You start off in a very cute outfit, and then I found a second outfit right off the bat that you could switch to, and I don't know why that was a thing, to be fair. That kind of threw me off, because usually when it comes to finding costumes, they're usually bonus content, DLC content, or even unlockables throughout the game. So if you wanted to, you could run around with either of the outfits that you have. But the character looked great in my opinion. The enemies and the bosses all looked absolutely fine as well. I can't fault them, but I have to say that there was a lack of enemy variation throughout the game. You fight quite a lot of the same enemies over and over and over and over, and the repetition from that perspective is definitely apparent. They could have been a bit more creative, especially with how the story plays out and the experiments that are going on within the game. They could have definitely been a lot more creative, bringing even more horrifying mobs and minions within the game to scare you and to even stress you out, to be fair, because that's what Resident Evil and Silent Hill games do. They stress you out while you're playing them. Gameplay and mechanics. The gameplay is extremely similar to Resident Evil, and I mean almost a copycat. The one downside, it doesn't have a very good item management system or an item storage box. You don't really need one, but my OCD got the best of me a lot of the times because I couldn't arrange my items or put them in an order. I couldn't, and I like doing stuff like that. So the item management system is a little bit meh, and the map system is also a bit meh, to be fair, because I got accustomed to the improved map system that they utilized in Resident Evil, where they showcased where you were on the map and whether or not a room had been cleared by using color coding. So, for example, with the Resident Evil games, if the room was clear, it would be a greeny, navy, blue color, and if there were still items in that room, it would be red. And I thought that was the case for Tormented Souls, but it isn't. I kept going back into rooms thinking that I had left items behind, or I couldn't find what the game was trying to tell me, and it's just not the case at all. It's just, it's red. So it just, that kind of irritated me in a little sense of, like, my OCD was like going, oh my god, is there something there? And I really do wish that they did utilize the same sort of a color code system, because it does put you at ease, making you feel like, you know, you've definitely cleared that room and you haven't missed anything. The puzzles in the game, wow, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed them. Some of them were actually extremely difficult to master, and that's exactly what you would expect in a game that is inspired, you know, from Resident Evil and Silent Hill. They're not easy puzzles. You might even end up having to Google some of the answers because they're a little bit tricky. Luckily, I did have my community at hand, so when I was stuck scratching my head and my balls trying to figure out a damn password, we had the community throw in a few hints every once in a while, not to tell me the answer, but just to guide me so I didn't stress myself out. But I loved that. I thought the puzzles were absolutely fantastic. The control scheme, as I said, is extremely similar to Resident Evil. So if you're happy with the old style tank controls, you can utilize that. If you wanted to switch to more modern controls, you don't have to change any of the settings. You just don't touch the D-pad and go straight to the analog, and then that's it. And I thought that was absolutely superb. I thought that was a great way of doing it, because it gives the player the choice then and there which system they wanted to utilize, and depending on what one they found most enjoyable and more comfortable. Game difficulty, the game does have some small little difficulty spikes, but I wouldn't say overall that the game is hard. When we push the start button on the main menu, we got put straight into the game. Unlike Resident Evil, that gave you a choice of, you know, do you want to start the game and have an easy experience, or do you want a difficult climb? It just chucks you straight in, and good luck. Even when completing the game, there is no option to change a difficulty or even new game plus mode. It's just that's the way it is. Good luck. There are medkits scattered around the game, or injections around the game to keep your health alive. There is a limited amount of ammunition, so you do need to be very careful. Try to utilize your melee weapon as often as possible to save the ammunition that you're struggling to keep. Any game customization and stats building, there are no stat building in the game, so we ignore that. Game customization, as I said, there is only just a costume change that you find at the very beginning, and that's it. There's no unlockables, nothing to achieve. It is just a little bit dry in that era. Online co-op modes, features, and stability, we don't need to talk about any of that because it is irrelevant. It is a purely offline experience only. Glitches and bugs. Now, I'm struggling with this one. The game froze and crashed on us 4 times. And the game doesn't have an auto-save feature. So be warned as you play throughout the game. If you do experience any issues and a game does crash on you, your manual saves are all you have. So I would definitely save when you feel it's the right time to do so. But be warned, again, saving is limited. You can't just save whenever. You have to go around and look for the tapes in order to save. So save when you feel it's the right time, when you feel you've done a lot within the game itself. There's a lot to explore in this game. The hospital that you go to is absolutely massive, with rooms underneath and up high, going up into the attic, so to speak, or down into the sewer and the basement. There is so much to explore in this game, and they use a amazing feature where you get warped into different time periods and explore the same sort of region of that building, but in a different time period. I thought that was absolutely amazing. The way that you get to examine items in this game feels very much like Resident Evil, where you can alter them in the inventory menu to, example, open up a certain bolt, or to customize a certain item to merge them together. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I really did. Purchase price versus digital price and value of content. The current purchase price on the Xbox Series X is £17. I didn't go out and look to see if there was a physical copy, because again, the game was gifted to us, but we are valuing this game at that price at £17. And now it's all about what I've written down. Got a new diary. Yay. The other one got full and binned. The game is only 14 gig. I have to say that the length of time that we put into this game, 14 gig, is amazing to what they were able to compress down into. It's a PEGI 18. I would expect nothing less. The publisher is P-Cube, and the developer is 2 companies, Dual Effect Games and Abstract Digital. The category that this falls under on Xbox is other, and I think that's a mistake. I think they need to have their own survival horror category and put that straight into it. It's a single player experience. As I said, there is no online, no multiplayer, no co-op. No difficulty options we've already talked about. The number of crashes recorded. Every time the game crashed on us, the option settings all got reset. So I had to reset them up every single time, and that was fucking annoying, I'm not gonna lie. The inventory screen we've already talked about. The better map system we've already talked about. The items having a how to play on them as well. Absolutely love that. You'll find certain items and certain documents where if you turn it around the back, it will show you some of the control schemes within the game. And I thought that was a clever touch. So all it boils down to now is, would I recommend you pick the game up at its current price point, and would I recommend that you play it? Hell yes. Fucking hell yes. If you are a fan of Resident Evil, if you are a fan of Silent Hill, this is a must play right now. Like right now. And especially at the £17 price point, I think that is absolutely spot on. So I am 100% recommending this game to everyone that I know, especially if you are a fan of those 2 other companies itself. Those 2 other game series, because £17 is an incredible price to play this game. It is. Scoring. Now, scoring is a difficult one to do, because we didn't review the game when it got launched, so we don't know how broken or busted the game was when it first came out. So this scoring is based off of the product now, and I don't know whether to take the crashes into consideration, because I have a feeling the crashes I experienced weren't caused by the game, but more likely caused by my internal hard drive basically wearing down. We've had this console for quite a while, the Xbox Series X, and we've been uninstalling and installing hundreds of games because of the reviews that we've been doing. But I did look at the Steam comments, and there were a lot of people talking about a lot of game crashes throughout the actual game itself. Some of them figuring out how they were triggered, and some of them figuring out, you know, the fixes for them. So I'm not going to take in all the crashes into consideration, but I will take in some of the comments that were left on Steam into consideration too, because you may play this on Steam. I played it on console. But the review score I'm going to give it is a very, very positive 8.5 out of 10. I feel that if they introduced more variation of monsters, that would have bumped up the score even more for sure. If the map system was more improved and just a better map system overall, that would have pushed the score up even more as well. And those are the two key areas that I would have improved, in my opinion. Other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. Maybe more weapons would have been nice, because you don't get a vast amount, to be fair. So taking all of that into consideration, I feel an 8.5 out of 10 is a good score. It is my opinion after all, but I'd love to know what your thoughts are down below in the comments of the video. If you've played the game yourself and you want to share your own input, again, flood the YouTube comments down below and I will add in my 2 cents. I will chat with you down below. But again, just a massive thank you to Crown. Couldn't have done this review without you. Thank you so much, my friend. It is just thank you. And from me, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye.